the session is The Power of Pausing for Self and Community Care. I'm happy to introduce Nathan Moore, Spiritual Engagement Coordinator for Fetzer Institute's Movement Building Team. And he will lead us through a conversation on the importance of self-care and refilling your spiritual well while pushing forward on your day-to-day work. So I will hand it over to Nathan.
Thank you so much, Christina. And thanks to the wonderful folks at Upswell for arranging and coordinating our time together. Blessings and gratitude. As Christina just said, I'm Nathan Moore, Spiritual Engagement Coordinator at the Fetzer Institute in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where our mission is helping build the spiritual foundation for a loving world. I would love to begin our time with a little pause for just a couple of minutes. So I would just invite you to settle into a comfortable posture, upright with both of your feet on the ground. And I would just invite you to close your eyes also, or keep them open with the soft gaze focused on the floor in front of you. And when we're all done in a few minutes, I will just ring the bell to let you know that we're done. So as you're settling in, I just invite you to notice any tightness or tension that you might feel. And if you do encounter any, I just invite you to give yourself permission to be as comfortable as possible. Just to soften your muscles, let your arms fold in your lap or fall to the sides. Roll your shoulders back, whatever it takes. And without judgment, try to notice what you're experiencing as you inhabit this pause. What senses are you aware of in your body? What sensations? And if you can, just simply allow for this moment, whatever is happening inside of you. And I would just invite you to let your attention flow back to your body. Notice how your body feels in this moment. And just cultivate a sense of gratitude for your body, your arms and legs, your feet and hands, your neck, everything that it's been doing for you today. Just say thank you to yourself. And let that attention drift to your heart. And we'll end with feelings of just unabashed gratitude for ourselves. If it helps, place your hand on your heart and just say thank you. Thank you so much for joining me in that. We're going to do a few other guided practices, but I just want to let you know that if we're doing anything that doesn't feel right to you, feel free to mute me, turn the volume down. This is all consensual, and I just appreciate you being here. You can be a participant to whatever degree feels right to you. So just gratitude for your presence here. I'd like to just ask a reflective question now that we are in this space and we've practiced a little bit together. The question is, how do you refill your spiritual well? Or another way of asking the question is, As you're out there facilitating change and helping to build a finer, more just world, what activities or habits or rituals give you a sense of renewal or rejuvenation? And just invite you to think about that for a moment. And if something comes to mind, I would just invite you to put that in the chat and share it with the rest of us. Being around nature. Thank you, Christina. Exploring outdoors. For me, it's been cooking. I was not a cook before the pandemic, but I've become one. And there's an art to it. Making food for other people is an act of love. Thank you for sharing. Doing boring self-care like getting on my weekly outfits. Yes, I think that that's an act of self-care too. Oh, wow. I love that, Daniel. Aimless drives in the middle of the night. I'm going to do that. Well, thank you very much for sharing some of these. Oh, music. Yes, Neil. Feel free to keep sharing. As we are sharing and thinking about this question, our modern society tends to place self-care lower on our list of priorities. We are often conditioned to think of self-care as being a luxury or an extravagance. Has that been anybody else's experience here? It has been mine. I don't know who needs to hear this, but humans are not a bottomless pit of emotional and spiritual resources. And even though we have an amazing capacity for giving and doing the difficult work, we just have to be mindful of the toll that this can take on us. It has taken me years to arrive at the conclusion that I am not an endless source of resources in this way. And I've found that in my experience, it's helpful to first notice when I'm bypassing my self-care needs. Second, interrupt them with a pause, interrupt the impulse to bypass with a pause. And third, to have a practice that's quick and easy to access on the ready. So that noticing when you're bypassing and then interrupting this is really important. That's the part that if nothing else, I would just invite you to try and have a practice of trying to catch yourself when you are bypassing and interrupting that. But the third thing, having a practice on the ready that's easy to access, that is where contemplative practice comes in. And the ability to pause and bring yourself to the present moment, and breathe and be grounded. This is simply paying attention to the present moment on purpose with a non-judgmental focus. So the non-judgmental focus is just the really helpful part. And our partners at Spirituality and Practice, thank you so much for putting up the slide. I don't know if that was Nick or I'm not sure who did it, but thank you. Our partners at Spirituality and Practice, which is a huge repository of resources for spiritual practices and journeys, have a featured practice, which is called the Sacred Pause, which is offered by an amazing meditation teacher and author named Tara Brach. And I'm just going to read this for you. She says, you can weave a sacred pause into your daily life by pausing a few moments each hour or as you begin and end activities. You can pause while sitting, standing, or lying down, or even in motion, or even when you're going for a walk. You can pause internally with your eyes open, or with your senses awake. Whenever you find you're stuck or disconnected, you can begin your life fresh in the moment by pausing, relaxing, and paying attention to your immediate experience. And that's all it is. Allowing yourself just a few minutes of space to pause, reflect, as we just did, and then starting anew. Today, I'd like to spend more time doing the guided practices, and I have two that I've prepared for us. The first one is an embodied pure breath practice that actually was taught to me by a teacher that was taught to her by someone from the Himalayas, actually. There are sort of qualities to pure breath technique, and we'll just be running through those together and practicing them together. And then we'll go right into my favorite loving kindness practice, which is simply the practice of cultivating loving kindness or metta, or a sense of generosity and compassion for yourself. And then you move outward to someone that's beloved to you. And then you move outward to someone that you may find difficult. And then you move outward even more to every interconnected living being in the world. We'll go right from one practice to the other, and we'll kind of go through that together. And then we'll have a few moments at the end to reflect on all of that. And if you have any questions while we're moving through these, then feel free to put them in the chat and I'll try to answer them. But it's kind of going backwards here. Oh, yes, our other partners at contemplativemind.org, which has been thoughtfully put in the chat by Nick here. There are some guided practices on their site, as well as the tree of contemplative practices, which offers other types of practices that you can do if you're looking for something to, fortify your day. And there's a range of things. It's not just meditation and silence. It could be journaling. It could be some of the things that were listed in the chat that folks are already doing. This is just a nice way to have things on the ready, so that when you feel the urge to bypass your own self-care, you can just pull one of these out and you can jump into it. I've found that to be helpful, and I hope it's helpful to you too. So I'd like to just get right into the practice part of this. So I would just encourage you to just, again, find that comfortable posture that we started out in. And just really settle in. Yes, you can feel free to turn off your camera if you'd like, if that's easier for you. And I'm going to ring the bell once we really start this practice in earnest. And then I'll ring the bell 3 times at the end to let you know that we're finished. But just find a comfortable posture with both of your feet on the ground if you can. Just sort of roll your shoulders back and sit as upright as you can, but make yourself very comfortable. This is a practice of self-care, so we don't want you to be suffering through anything. If it's helpful and you have your camera turned off and you'd like to lay down and backwards, feel free to do that. That's just fine. And I would just invite you at this time to Let your attention go to the sensations of your body and just notice how you feel sitting here in this moment. If you notice any tightness or tension, just allow yourself to get comfortable. You can close your eyes or you can keep them open. If you do have them open, then just let yourself have a soft gaze on the floor in front of you. And I would just invite you to let your attention go to your breath and the sensations of breathing. The sensation of your abdomen rising and falling, your rib cage expanding, and I invite you to take some very deep, generous breaths. And as you're breathing, try to relax your effort. You can feel your body sinking into the points of contact it's making with the sofa or the chair. Just let yourself be as loose as possible. And just notice how your body feels at this moment. And feel free to make any adjustments that you need to make. And the first quality of the pure breath that we're going to explore is silence. So as you're relaxing your effort in your breath, try to eliminate any noise that the breath might be creating. We're not controlling or stifling our breath. In fact, we're being very generous with our breathing. We're just relaxing our effort so that you can't hear it anymore. And as we're gently relaxing our effort, you'll notice that your breath will be silent on the inhale and silent on the exhale. Good. And once your breath is nice and steady and silent, I would just invite you to let your attention go to the second quality of the pure breath, which is balance. So you're still breathing big, generous breaths, nice and easy. They're quiet now, but you're also becoming aware of the flow of inhalation and the flow of exhalation. And just notice the length of your inhalation and the length of your exhalation. And just try and relax your effort so that they're the same. Inhale and exhale. Nice and even. And as you're mindfully giving your breath your full attention, smooth and balanced and silent, we move on to the third quality, which is to keep your breath smooth and undisturbed. Noticing your inhalation and your exhalation, how it is from beginning to end, giving it your full attention. Notice if there's any moment in your stream of breath where it kind of catches or jerks or ripples in some way. And if you notice a moment like this, try to relax your effort in that moment until the breath starts to smooth out. And once the breath is smooth and quiet and undisturbed, you move on to the fourth quality, which is for the breath to be connected and without pause. And to do this, we just bring our awareness to the moments of transition between the inhale and the exhale. And at the very top of the inhalation and at the very end of the inhale, just completely relax and let go of the exhalation, and it will follow to come to relieve you. You can think of this breathing like a perfect circle riding in a Ferris wheel. The inhalation, you gently ride all the way up to the top. The inhale, you relax, and the exhalation carries you over and down the other side. At the bottom again, you relax, and the inhalation carries you back up to the top, like you're breathing in a perfect circle. And if you're finding any of this difficult to follow, then that's just fine too. Just keep relaxing your effort and returning your attention to your breath. You've been doing this your entire life and you cannot do it wrong. Swami Rama of the Himalayas used to say that when the breath is balanced and undisturbed, this is how our minds would be too. When we harmonize the breath and we harmonize the thoughts of the mind, we in turn soothe and harmonize the nervous system. And as we're inhabiting our body, breathing a pure breath, I would just invite you to let your attention drift to a memory, a time in which you felt loved, cared for, when you felt seen, when you felt beloved. And I just invite you to try and remember what that felt like in your body. Just try and remember the sensation of that time. For me, it's warm like sunlight. And as you're bringing this memory to your mind's eye, I just invite you to let that feeling flow throughout your entire body and cultivate a feeling of loving kindness and compassion for yourself. This is the essence of metta meditation, which is loving kindness. And as this feeling flows through your body and inhabits your mind, I just invite you to say these words to yourself silently. May I know love. May I be safe from harm and free from fear. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. May I be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. May I know love. Now I just invite you to take in a very deep, generous breath. And then slowly exhale. And as you're exhaling, I invite you to bring to mind another person who's been a benefactor to you, someone who is beloved or whom you find easy to love. I just invite you to open up your circle of loving kindness that you're cultivating for yourself to include this person. And I would just invite you to say these words to yourself. May they know love. May they be safe from harm and free from fear. May they be healthy. And may they be free from suffering. May they be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. May they know love. And if you would, just please take in another very deep breath. And slowly exhale. And as you're exhaling, I just invite you to expand your circle of metta or loving kindness to include yourself and your beloved, and then perhaps someone that you're not so sure about, someone that you don't know, or perhaps even someone that you find hard to treasure, as my grandmother used to say, knowing that this person wants the same thing that we want. I would just invite you to say these words to yourself with this person in mind. May they know love. May they be safe from harm and free from fear. May they be healthy. And may they be free from suffering. May they be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. May they know love. And let's just rest with that for a moment. And I invite you to just take in another very deep breath, very generous. And slowly exhale. And as you're exhaling, I just invite you to expand your circle even more, knowing that love and compassion have no limits. I just invite you to open up your circle to include all living beings, everything that grows and lives and dies, everyone that loves, everyone that suffers, all plants, all animals, all living creatures everywhere. And this includes ourselves and our beloved and those hard to treasure. And with this endless interconnected web of love in mind, I just invite you to say these words to yourself. May we know love. May we be safe from harm and free from fear. May we be healthy, and may we be free from suffering. May we be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. May we know love. And we'll just repeat these words one more time. May we know love. May we be safe from harm and free from fear. May we be healthy, and may we be free from suffering. May we be able to live in this world happily, peacefully, joyfully, and with ease. May we know love. And I would just invite you to just rest in that for a moment. And then slowly let your attention return to your breath. Still perfect, still silent, still smooth and connected, just as much as it needs to be. Yeah, invite you to let your attention go to your entire body and just notice how you're feeling in your body in this moment as we inhabit this moment. So feel the temptation to let your attention drift to what you're going to be doing when you're done with this or what you were doing earlier. Then just gently let your attention return to right now in this moment and just notice how you feel. I would just invite you to let your attention return to the room. You can open your eyes Give your body a good stretch if that's helpful. Lovely. As we're all coming back into the virtual space here, I'll just invite you to turn your cameras back on so we can see each other. If you're feeling like you can do that. You're all lovely and I want to see you. We have some time here at the end for reflection. If anyone felt anything in that moment or have any comments or anything like that, feel free to unmute yourself, or you can just put it in the chat. And if you have nothing to say, then that's just fine too. It is not share or die. Oh, I love the heart. I love all the hearts. um, oh, Beth, thank you.
I found myself sobbing in the middle.
Oh, Krista, thank you so much. Can we just, can we pause for a moment? Here's another practice that's super helpful. When someone tells you that they're having a moment that's emotional, then it's perfectly fine to just stop and just pause and breathe into it. And I thank you for sharing that. This is really just about giving yourself permission to take time to prioritize your feelings and your care and your awareness. So I feel like I'm not really telling you anything that you probably don't already know, but I have dear ones in my life that will remind me that that your feelings and your care matter. So make sure that you are. I have a friend that told me once, "I trust you are remembering to breathe," when they saw me stressing out in a moment. And at first, I didn't understand what that meant. It was just years ago, but I know what she means now. It's like my breaths are shallow and my attention is all over the place. So give yourself time to do that. Notice when you are not prioritizing your own self-care and try to interrupt it. And then try to have a practice on the ready. A little moment to pause for just a few minutes and notice how you're feeling is one way to do that. The great practices on spiritualityandpractice.com are a great resource that we shared. And contemplative mind and society.org is another. And actually, we have several practice on Fetzer.org if you are looking for things to do that we offer monthly. So lots of great resources that are out there if you want to try different things. Oh, I'm going back and looking. Oh, so the thank you for the comment about the pure breath thing. I'm going to share in the chat the teacher that taught it to me. Her name is Karina Mirsky, and she's amazing. And if any of you have the Insight Timer app, there are several guided practices there too. So this link that's in here is her recording of that. Her way of doing it is amazing, and it's longer than what we had time for, so I sort of shortened it. But if you have time, then I would just do yourself a favor and just really listen to her doing it. She's much better than me. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Beth. Would that be a good place to go for ideas for staff? Absolutely. Please do go to, especially spiritualityandpractice.org. I kid you not, or .com. They have so many resources there, covering a variety of topics. The loving kindness meditation that I do is uh, originally I learned it from the one that is on contemplativemind.org, the other link. Um, but there is a version of it there under practices. So no recording of it. It's all sort of scripted out, which means if you'd like to do a loving kindness meditation with other people, you can just read the script. These things are not restricted to people. They're out there so that other people can experience them. Mhm. I so appreciate that, Krista. She says it just slammed right into you, and you just never know how these things are going to hit you. So you really do have to give yourself time um, to, experience and feel what you're feeling. Um, yep, give yourself time. Oh, thank you, Jill. Um, contemplativemind.org and spiritualityandpractice.com. Would you mind putting them in the chat again, Nick? Nick is going to help us out since my crazy little mouse doesn't work so well. Oh, thank you. Yes, both of these organizations have been longtime partners of the Fetzer Institute, and both have been at this work for a long time. And there are a lot of great organizations out there. As I mentioned, the spiritualityandpractice.com link actually goes to a Tara Brock post that's about, it's a featured practice. It's all about the sacred pause, which is just taking a few minutes wherever you are. Usually when you're in transition, like when you're getting out of the car or before you walk from your car to the inside of a store, just stop for a moment and notice how you're feeling. That's a great way to interrupt, all that busy energy is when you're in transition, when you're about to leave one place and go to another. Or sometimes I will do this when I'm in the supermarket in line, waiting. I will just notice how it feels to grip the basket and give that attention to my hand, and it pulls me right into the moment. Or notice what it feels like to be standing there solid on the ground while I'm waiting in line for anything. Brings you right into now, and you can, if your attention wants to pull you into the future or into the past, then just let your attention gently drift back to the thing that you're trying to concentrate on. That's all mindfulness is. Oh, thank you, Sean. I think I'm gonna just stop right there. I'm so grateful to all of you for taking the time for being here and for practicing with me. Oh, I have to read this though. Yes. Oh, thank you, doctor. Yes, loving kindness is my favorite practice too. It's been around forever. It gives us uh, it's a great opportunity to this session is called self-care and community care because our self-care is connected to how well we're able to care for the community. This is really important that we remember that we cannot do anything for anyone else if we do not put our own mask on our face first. So yeah, I am the spiritual engagement coordinator for the Fetzer Institute. And that basically means that I work with our partners and am creating opportunities for them to deepen into practice. And I also do some public engagement work for our movement building team. It's a new role that never existed before. Um, yeah, yeah. Fetzer is is just piloting a lot of things right now. So stay tuned. You might see more of this. And you can always follow us on Fetzer.org. That's another thing. God, they're going to shoot me if I don't actually say that. If you go to Fetzer.org and you can join our email list, we have a blog, we have Instagram and Facebook. There's lots of great content and talk about the work that we're doing. There's an amazing spirituality study that talks about what spirituality means to people in America. I would just highly recommend checking that out. So Fetzer.org. So there it is. Fetzer does philanthropy. Yeah, that's what we do.